All right, June 24. So I had to buy to cover my 720 covered calls. I did it right before the market closed, before it went up. So actually, that was a good thing because I think it went up like it went in the money for a total of $20. I bought it when I was in the money at $12. So yeah, good. Also, I watched a Hulu show called The Bear. It's a good show. I would just say it's a little bit over dramatized. Unless there are other people that experience things like that, as far as like, I don't know about the chef's personal problems, but the rest of it, like how people talk to each other in the kitchen, I think it's a little bit extreme, but it's pretty close. It's like 75% there, but it's for TV, so you do want it to be as intense as possible. Okay, pears. This one's a short story, but it's just to emphasize the ridiculousness. Okay, so as always, well, actually, we're prepping for the same thing as at this other restaurant right here. We were prepping out of 3 different kitchens actually because we could only borrow each kitchen for 1 day. So we borrowed 1 day at each kitchen. So this was for the same event as the one that the pork belly went missing. I forget if this was the date. This was probably 1 or 2 days before. I think we started there, we went there, and then we ended at the school, and then we went to the event, or something like that. But like I said before, the chef gave us a list of things to do, and I wrote it down. I wrote my stuff down, very specific, because he was like, you're gonna cut this, like this, like this. You're gonna show me, you're gonna do this, and you're gonna do this, this. And then just one of the random things that he told me was medium dice these pears. And then I was like, okay, medium dice these pears. Very straightforward. I know what a medium dice is. I know what a pear is. And I know it's these, because these are the only pears. They are pears and a medium dice, right? I didn't need to ask for more clarification on that one, because there are other things that are more complicated, like do this process, then do this, then this, then this, and this, and then show me to make sure you didn't fuck it up. So there's complicated stuff, and then there's medium dice these pears. So clearly I don't want to look stupid and ask, what do you mean by medium dice these pears? So I have my job, he has his job, or not his job. Oh, actually this story's in here too. This one's part of this one. Okay, there's a 3-for-1 story. Okay. So basically, I have my list. He leaves to go screw around and not do work while we do all of his prep. And then he just appears back in a couple hours to pick us up from daycare of doing his work for very little pay. Anyways, it's actually nice when he's not there, because we can do stuff without him micromanaging and making things take longer than it should and yelling and all that stuff. So it was actually nice that he wasn't there. Basically, I did what I was supposed to do. It was medium dice these pears and pickle them. So I did it, and then the next day or whatever, he looks through all this stuff, and then he sees the pears, and then he's like, he calls me over, and then he doesn't tell me what's wrong. He just like, he's having a seizure or something. Like, you're so retarded, I can't speak. And I'm just over there like, okay, time for the whole thing again. So he does his whole thing, and he's like, he just like speechless. He's speechless, and then he's like, why'd you do this? And then I was like, do what, chef? I medium diced these pears. And then he was like, why would we put medium, these pieces are too big to go on top of cushy oysters. These are supposed to be for, to go on top with the mignonette. And then I was just like, I don't know what prep is attached to what dish, because every event we've been doing for the last, like 1 year, you don't really repeat dishes. It's just this and this, and mix this component onto this dish instead of this one, and do that and that. So like, why? Never assume things. It makes you look like an asshole. So I never assume that it's gonna be the same thing. So he goes through the whole thing. He kicks me out. I'm waiting outside. And all the cooks that work there, they like every once in a while I see them go outside to take a break, and they're like, oh, what are you doing here? And I'm just like, oh, I got kicked out and fired again. And then like, oh, and then like 20 minutes later, another one comes out. So, and then the whole thing happens where the other guy comes and calls me in and all that stuff. And yeah, I clearly medium diced those pears when he told me to, and I think he just didn't want to admit that he told me to medium dice pears when he wanted brunoise, because there's a very big difference between brunoise. Brunoise is a very small, like the size of I don't know, a little bit bigger than a grain of rice, by not by length, by diameter. So that's that story. He told me to medium dice. I did it. I got yelled at. He wanted brunoise. Admit your mistakes. That's the lesson there. Even if you're the chef. If I make a mistake, I don't deflect it onto other people. Lobster. This also happened at this event. We got Kona cold lobsters. And then I hate killing things, but I did it anyways. I did we didn't even split the head. It was just, oh, this is what he told me to do. I didn't want to do it, but he told me to do it anyways. There's like 50 lobsters. He said to break off the lobster, break off the arms, and did he tell me to? Yeah. I think he just told me to break the arms off. He didn't tell me to pull the tail out and then cook them. Yeah, I think it was just the arms. Unless it was the tail. I don't know. But he didn't tell me to just, he didn't let me kill them first and then do everything. Or he didn't let me throw it in boiling water and then do everything. And I remember specifically there was something like pull the arms off while it's still alive and do all of them and then cook it. Or pull the arms off and pull the tail off and do I'm pretty sure I didn't pull the tail off, but I'm pretty sure it was just the arms. Pull the arms off so you can cook them separately, and then all these bodies, lobster bodies with tails attached still, cook. Anyways, long story short, I cooked all the lobsters, and then these are Kona cold lobsters, so they're in warm water, and it's kind of a gamble every time because you don't know if they're gonna melt or not. Melting is like the meat is inside is just so mush, and it's usually when I think around when they're molting or something. I'm not too sure, but the meat is mush basically. And then it turned out that half of the meat in all these lobsters were mush, and then he gets mad at me. I don't know. He always has this whole train of logic how it's your fault that something happened. And I don't remember how that train of logic was that it was my fault that these lobsters melted. They're lobsters. It's a gamble. It's just, It's like finding a worm inside of your fish or something. You don't know what's inside. And another thing, I didn't go fish these lobsters out of the ocean, or I didn't order them or anything. He brought the lobsters because he brings the ingredients, then I just processed them. And I didn't process them wrong or anything that caused them to melt, because half of them are good and half of them are bad. Anyways, this whole thing happens again when he kicks me out, and that whole song and dance of you're fired, whatever. And then he tells me and the other guy, this was like on a weekend with like a holiday on Monday or something. It was the Monday holiday by that day. He was like, get the fuck out of here, both of you, and don't come back until you have lobsters. Why? Well, a couple things. One, why is it our responsibility to go buy lobsters with our money? Two, where can we legally get lobsters to buy raw? Three, is it's a holiday. So, anyways, we don't know anything about purveying lobsters at 7 p.m. at night. So, we go to this Chinese restaurant that I know has like a live lobster tank. So I tell the other guy, like, this is what we have to do. We have to go in there and we have to ask if we can buy the lobsters buy those lobsters, but they don't cook it for us. And we went in there and then we asked the person who was like super Chinese, and then she's like, let me check. She go in the back, no, cannot. So after that, like we were thinking about it for a long time, and it was just like, can't do anything about it. We're just not gonna get lobsters because we can't do it. Literally can't do it. So we just show up the next day with no lobsters. And then he actually doesn't yell at us about it or anything, because he knows it's not our fault, but he wanted to make it seem like it was our fault. And then like the next day you just forget about it. We don't talk about it, because if we talk about it, he's gonna get mad at us. But he's not mad at us about it anymore, so we don't bring it up. That's the lobster story.